good one. So, Ron, thanks for taking the time to talking to me and some of us and more people on your side. Of course, you're a well-known person or personality, I should say. And it's nice, especially for being in a place like that where the sun is shining and the sky is blue. We are having the same here in the UK also today, but it's temporarily, I should say. It's a few minutes and then it goes away and it comes back. But how's things as general? Everything is okay on your side?
Um, yeah, we've been pretty lucky here in Israel. We haven't been affected as much by COVID as some other places. We definitely had it here. We've had our gyms shut down for a while. We've had the businesses shut down for a while, but now things appear to be reopening again, and the Krav Maga gyms have been gradually reopening. So we're hoping for some sense of back to normality.
Wow, that's good. I mean, I was there the other day. It feels like it was the other day in our last training camp, and we had discussed. You even sat down and recorded a nice interview about an hour long. We had many plans about things in the future, camps and so on. But then, as soon as I left Israel, I think on the next day they've closed everything down, and people couldn't go back and forth anymore. And it's been what 12 weeks now, a little bit more, maybe 13 weeks. We've been sitting home in UK here for 12 weeks now, starting to. So it's been interesting, completely different approach for whatever lifestyle we had in the past and whatever experiences we had in the past. So we had to adapt into all this. One of the things I always liked in the Israeli mindset is this plastic elastic that you have a plan. However, if stuff hit the fan, you need to adapt, need to be able to adjust it. How much of that played a big part in this adaptation that we have to go through now from your side?
So that's a good question. You're asking about how the Israeli mindset helped us to deal with COVID.
That's right.
Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Because
That's a
you
good.
guys, you guys are in constant fight and threat, and you're never in a yellow condition anymore. You guys are in orange and green, from my understanding. So in other words, it's just another fight. It's just like, yeah, it's just another battle. Come on, let's get out of here.
So look, that's certainly true from one end. Here in Israel, we're no strangers to states of emergency, shall we call them. So the population, a lot to do with the population here. We know when things are serious. We know to switch, maybe to switch phases, right? We know how to go very well from business as usual to this is something different. So from that end, I think that Israel is different from other places around the world where we are dealing on constant threat, whether it's missiles, whether it's war, whether it's terrorism, and now when it appeared to be a virus, then when things get serious.
Well,
we can make the shift. That being said, there's the other side of it. I wouldn't say it's everything has its positive and its negative. In Israel, we have a lot of ingenuity, a lot of flexibility. We've had to be a very adaptive people in Israel, and even before, just to survive. So we're very good at shifting and changing. That's also comes down to where with policy as well. I mean, if you've been to Israel, you know that Israelis, we follow the rules, but we also use our mind, and we also. So I don't know if that's all worked in our favor 100%. I think that sometimes it is good to have. I don't know how to express exactly what I want to say, but it is good.
I know
to
you're
have
talking about have the
some
common
sort of
sense,
system and some sort of
yeah.
order, and you can't have just everybody using their big brain and
Right.
and doing their own thing. So I think I think like everywhere it's a balance. There's some things that certainly that culturally here certainly played in a favor here in Israel, and there's some things that not so much.
Okay, nice one. So let me go back one click here. So normally when I start all this, I start asking the guests, and of course, to talk us about some background, especially Krav Maga, of course. And would you mind take us through some of your experience, your time training when you started in your journey to where you are today?
So you want my Krav Maga CV? if
Tell us,
so.
yeah, this is not an interrogation one. Like every time you're talking to an Israeli, it feels like we're interrogating them.
I
So
can I can
it's a
do
nice interview.
interrogation. I've been trained for that as well, so
Yeah, this is what I'm
that's
saying.
perfectly
It's not an
okay.
interrogation. It's just a nice interview. Relax.
Yeah, that's what they say, don't they?
Enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, look, I started Krav Maga in 1992. I was fortunate enough to grow up in Netanya, which is, for those who don't know, that's kind of the heart and soul of Krav Maga. That's where Krav Maga, that's a city in Israel where Krav Maga really developed. That's where Imi, the founder of Krav Maga, had his first gym, and that's where it all happened. So I was very fortunate as a child to grow up there and having, the best trainers in the world at my doorstep, and I certainly made use of that. So, yeah, I've been training, coming up to 30 years in Krav Maga. Seriously, so it has been my primary focus, and that's that that's pretty much it. I'm very fortunate to having phenomenal instructors, excellent training partners. Um, I served in the Israeli army as a Krav Maga instructor and as a combat soldier. Um, I've had experiences of not only training soldiers but deploying with them in the battlefield and seeing how the training, um, how the training was actually tested in real life, and that was quite a unique experience because in the Israeli army, generally you're a teacher, a Krav Maga teacher, let's say, or uh, combat soldier. It's rare to have. It's not unheard of. There are quite a few fantastic Krav Maga instructors, but I was in quite a unique position where I was not just a professional instructor, but actually I was a combat soldier and a sergeant first, and also a Krav Maga instructor. So I got to not only train the men, but actually to see how the training was put to the test and to adapt and to be able to approach that. So that really very much drove my understanding and approach to Krav Maga, um, that you got to be there with boots on the ground. It's not Krav Maga is not designed for professional MMA fighters, professional boxers. That's not the type of people that we train. Krav Maga was, yes, it was developed in the army, but it was very much designed to be able to train anybody to be able to protect themselves, and that's something that it actually matches quite well because in the Israeli army, it's compulsory service. That means everybody goes into the army, not just the fittest, the strongest, the most determined. Everybody serves, and everybody learns Krav Maga in the process at a different level, of course. So Krav Maga has always very much been a system of training, not professional. I don't want to say not professional fighters, because in my mind, an infantry soldier is a professional fighter. But let's say it wasn't designed to train professional athletes, combat athletes. It was designed to train women. It was designed to train children. It was designed to train soldiers, and it was designed to train just normal people to deal with the threats that they face. So, and that's quite helpful because that's the people that can really understand Krav Maga well. You don't have to be. My message as a professional soldier is you don't need to be a professional soldier to be a good Krav Maga instructor. The fact that you've been in a special forces unit and whatnot does not necessarily add to your credibility or to your skill set as a Krav Maga instructor. I would maybe argue that actually being an average Joe helps you identify and
That was me. I put
train
my hand
people
up
that are
now.
like you.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. Yeah, I like the average Joe. Yeah, I fit right nicely in that one. Um, yeah,
Literally so.
yeah, that's very good.
I don't know
Interesting.
if you're definitely Joe. I don't know if you're average.
I like to think. I like to think like that. There's less expectation from people. When you're, and it's a kind of a tricky world we live in now. But anyway, okay. So you had the experience to practice Krav Maga before you joined the army, which I guess was a bonus. By the time you got there, you had some, good understanding, strong, physically wise, and also the mindset. Because sometimes you have people that leave mommy and daddy, and all of a sudden join the army, and that was a terrible experience, and they hate every single minute, and they can, wait to the day that they can actually sign out and leave the army. In your case, it's probably different. You wanted to do it, you joined it, you enjoyed the whole thing. to the
Look,
point where you,
you don't get into the units that I was serving in and with by accident. It's
yeah, this what I about to say. You joined because you really want it. You're looking forward. You want to see the action there. So you know, I guess one of the units that you served, which of course we don't not going to talk about it because we don't talk about it, Fight Club and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of experience, a lot of hands-on. Let's see what it works and see stuff that don't work. And you know, I guess the briefings coming back from any action was like, "What did you do? I did this, and it worked. Yes, but the other one, for some reason, did something different. That was a problem. So we need to adapt and adjust the techniques." I guess there is a lot of that when it comes to Krav Maga within the army. Is that correct?
the beautiful thing about working with soldiers is you can't bullshit a soldier. They they say it how they see it because their life is, you know, on the line. If you're training them with something that they're supposed to use when they go into, you know, places where their life is going to be very much so under threat, if they don't buy what you're selling, then you're going to know about it. So that's the beauty with soldiers. It's also going out there, but also when you're training them, the tolerance for, how do you say, I want to go about this politically, fairly politically correctly, but in the realm of,
Do we have
in the,
to? Can we not tell the truth?
in the realm of martial arts, you know, there's room for a lot of um, myth, legends, theatrics. Um, yeah, and there's not much room for that in the military. Like, yeah, you can't fool people, especially not veterans, especially not soldiers that have been around for a while and that have been in combat and stuff. So you better make sure that you have the skill set and the stuff that you're training are legit and proven and tested, and that you can, you
Yeah.
know exactly why and you can stand behind it. So it keeps you fairly honest, and I like
Oh,
that.
listen, I can tell you from my own experience. I've trained martial arts for many years. I've been a black belt in karate, done lots of that, you know, stuff like that. And lots of katas and things like that. I found myself in situations on the street where I had to use the hand-to-hand combat, and all I resort at the time was like a straight punch and a frontal kick, and a straight punch and a frontal kick. And my, you know, my question was like, what about those back spinning kicks, the tornado kicks? What about the fancy schmancy stuff? It didn't work because I had no time. I used the tools that I had at the time to solve the problem the way I had to solve the problem. So then when I saw Krav Maga for the first time, it was like love, you know, this is it. That's what I wanted because that answers all the questions that I always had regarding my martial arts background. And it was like, whoa, okay, great. So
your, your experience is not unique. I've trained many martial artists who've trained many years in different systems, and you know, and a lot instructors from different systems that start training Krav Maga often at a later age and go, this is what I've been looking for, this is what I've been looking for my entire life. And that's not to say that, you know, the systems aren't. I've had it from every system imaginable, from fantastic systems like boxing, like kickboxing, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which are all systems that I love and respect and train with on my own, and from karate and taekwondo and whatnot. That's not to say it's a mistake to think about, you know, one martial art being superior over another. The real question is, they're all tools. It's like, what's superior, a screwdriver or a hammer? The
it
question is,
depends.
what
It
do you,
depends what the problem you have there.
exactly depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
So as far as self-defense goes, that's what Krav Maga was designed for.
True.
Uh,
Yeah. What
Thai boxing was not designed for self-defense. Does that mean that Thai boxing doesn't have any um,
tools that can be
doesn't
used in
have
self
tools
defense?
or incredibly beneficial aspects to self-defense? Absolutely not. I would never say that. It's a fantastic system, and if you know how to punch and you know how to kick, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't designed for self-defense.
It's very interesting. That's interesting. I see this like a like an upgrade. You buy a hard drive and you know, connect to your computer, and all of a sudden you have you know, better capability. That's why I see a Krav Maga. One of the things that I used to back in the day is always this, you know, the rituals, the saluting, the preparing, the are you ready? I'm ready. Ha! Okay, now I attack you, attack me. So that kind of stuff done enough times becomes a habit, as we all know it. and that habit would translate to the street, or would transfer to the street when you're there in a situation. But then you don't have all those pre-warnings. You don't have the time to get ready, to stretch, to put your belt, and walk around, have a drink first. Stuff happened very quick, very soon, and by the time you realize what's going on, is over, and then you didn't have the skills to. I could not show my karate skills. That's what I felt. So with Krav Maga, it's very different because, first of all, every time I step out of the door, I'm always scanning, looking over the shoulders. I'm planning 5 steps ahead. Of course, just because
Well,
I'm a lunatic, yeah.
and because you live in London.
Because I live in London, yeah, that's right, yeah. Crazy people live in London, but you understand
No
my point of
offense.
view. So
Maybe a bit.
no, they know what I'm talking about. Anyone who watched the news in the last few days will understand exactly what you're talking about. But okay, so that's interesting. The other thing is, I mean, you're talking about different martial arts and levels. I had the one in a lifetime opportunity, or twice in a lifetime actually, to meet a great boxer, Chris Eubank, which was a champion here in the UK for many years. The guy's absolutely ninja, and he was actually teaching one of our instructors team, and he said, "Look, you guys do something completely different. You guys have to deal with someone with a knife, someone with a stick, someone with a gun." I never had to do stuff like that. I have this recording video, by the way. I was standing in a boxing ring where the surface was flat, had ropes around, had a referee there looking after me. My partner, I knew that he didn't have a knife or a stick in his hands. He had boxing gloves to protect me, and so on. So everything was very specific and very unique to the rules, if you like it. So of course, within those rules, he was a champion. But we have to do something completely different. The way you walk, the way you dress. I keep saying this to the students: the way you leave your house, the way you dress is very important. Because if you are wearing those tight jeans, my friend or my friend, you're not going to be able to kick. You're not going to be able to perform certain things. So even from the way you dress, that is part of the Krav Maga mindset. Do you agree with that?
Um, yeah, I think Krav Maga is. I mean, I don't know if it's unique in that sense, but Krav Maga is very much about the skill set, but also about the people that you're training. That's also. I mean, when a good instructor, when a good coach for anything, adapts the training to the people that they're training, right? You might have, I mean, if you're training boxers, you might have a southpaw, you might have somebody who's skinny and tall, you might have somebody who's a bit shorter and a bit more mass, and you formulate a system and a game plan that works for them, right? Or the same thing can be said for any sport or any mission you coming to accomplish. When you're training people, a good coach takes into consideration and works with what they've got in front of them. It's not a cookie. How do you say, a cookie cutter formula? Is that
Yeah.
the term in English? It's not a.
You're not producing people in a kind of automated way. You have
Yeah,
to use the skills and
you have to. Yeah,
bespoke.
yeah. You have to understand the people. You have to understand the challenges and the threats that they face. And it's different if you're working with police officers. It's different if you're working with soldiers. Different even in between the units within the army, and it's also different if you're teaching civilians. And I teach all over the world, and I teach people from all over the world that come here to Israel to train. And different places have different threats, different mentalities, and you need to work with that as well. So it's one thing about um, yes, training against a knife. Understand, we deal with a lot more complex situations and a lot more problems than, let's say, somebody training for confined, structured competition, be it jujitsu, be it taekwondo, be it boxing, whatever. But it's not just that; it's also the people. Let's say if I'm training, let's go back to the example of boxing. If I'm training boxing, even then, like, if I'm training in a competitive gym, I'm training competitors, right? I'm training athletes. That's who comes in. I'm training them as athletes. If you come into me and you're 30 kilos overweight, I say, okay, you're not ready to be a competitor yet. Go work on your fitness, get the skill set. I'm not training to beginners. I'm not training to everyday people. I'm training athletes for a very specific thing. If I'm running a commercial gym that's aimed at, the general public to get them in shape, and competition isn't my aspect, it's different. So even in those realms of, let's say, sport and martial arts, for us in Krav Maga, It's it's really having a good understanding of who these people in front of you that you're training. And that's why I said the number one skill that a good Krav Maga instructor needs to have, and I know it's, let's say it wouldn't be most people's first thought or pick, but from my experience, it's empathy. You really need to be able to understand what the person in front of you is dealing. And I know that's a bit wishy-washy and a bit hippie for Krav Maga instructors to say. I love my Hendrix, but I don't think many people can accuse me of, being a hippie. But I'm a realist, and to be a good coach, you really need to get into the mind and really understand the problems and what the people that you're training are facing.
Yeah, people, when it comes to train Krav Maga, sometimes you see this, I want a quick solution for a problem. Oh, last night I was walking down the street, the guy did this, teach me a way of escaping that. And normally what I tell people is this, look, this happens last night, not today. So this problem might never happen again, or you might have a different problem. So, I cannot give you one solution that was going to solve the rest of your life. So what about you joining and start practicing this every day, a little bit, going through different problems, different issues, and preparing yourself for the future? Might be the case you're never going to have to use it again, which is the likelihood and the insurance. That's what we're all looking for. Or might be the case tomorrow you'll find yourself in a situation where you have to use Krav Maga. You know what I mean? So that's when sometimes when people come into train, they don't know exactly what they want. They want it's like a wonderful solution, one lesson, one workshop, 3 hours, I'm done. I don't need to practice this again. The maintenance is one of the most important things with everything in life, including Krav Maga. It's
Well,
not a,
it's not just. I think that's a good point because I get it. People want a quick solution. I get why they want it. We all want the most efficient way to solve our problems, right? And Krav Maga is promoted as being something simple to learn, and there is a distinction to be made between simple and easy.
yeah.
It's not the same. It's certainly not the same. Krav Maga is a very simple system. It has to be. It's far from easy. I mean, combat combat is hard because, especially in the realm where we're training for, because nobody wants to lose, right? The person who's going to come to attack you, we're not talking about someone that you just go and they fall over. So, like, to be a realist, the person who's going to assault you on the street, they're going to be a pretty bloody hard matchup. Well, that's why they chose you. They chose you to attack you because they think you're going to be an easy target. So it's going to be hard. And the training is going to be hard too, to be able to deal with the difficult threat. So, but your question was, and it was a good one, it was the person who's looking for a quick solution. And sometimes, remember we spoke about a second ago, we spoke about having empathy, understanding where the person's coming from. So sometimes, you need to sell what people want, but actually give them what they really need, right? That's your student who comes to you in the first class and says, I want to learn how to disarm a pistol. And that's why they came to you for. And if you say, come back and, train for 10 years, right, like Karate Kid, right? Paint the fence and you'll discover that you're a Krav Maga master. That doesn't really work in practice. And to be a good instructor, you need to have students, because you can be the best instructor in the world, but if nobody wants to learn from you, that's not going to be very good, is it? So a good instructor, and I know you know this, Joe, better than most, it's you need to know how to balance it, to give them what they want, to give them what they want, but put that together with what they really need. Because at the beginning of phases, they don't understand, not I don't want to generalize, but not everybody can understand the value of just having a good fighting stance and being able to throw a good solid punch. Experienced instructor knows that it's pointless to learn how to disarm a gun without being able to punch and move properly. It's just not going to work. But
Yeah.
the beginner who's there at your door is saying, teach me how to defend myself, and they have a very credible need. I'm not advocating you have somebody who wants a quick fix and you say, well, get lost. We don't do that here. No, because they have a very real need too. They just don't have the experience and the education yet to really be able to appreciate and to know. So that's what it comes to good instructor. And the answer is, it's really the value in Krav Maga is in the journey itself.
Yeah.
It's not It's not the skill set. It's not just that you can come out and you can kick everybody's ass. That's not really what's it about, because it never ends. You can never. When does the journey end? When can you defend yourself? Against what?
Yeah,
Against what?
it all depends.
Against somebody your size, fighting with an equally set of rules. Okay. When can you beat that person in the ring? We can have an answer to that. But
True.
when we don't know what you're going to face, we're never going to have an answer to that. That means that the journey never ends. So you better get satisfaction, and you better get your value from the journey, because you're never, I don't want to say you're never going to reach the goal, but because that sounds a bit passive, but there is no goal. The benchmark is not a doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
really
one
something.
of the problems that I've heard students that didn't know I was the guy running the club. I met the guy in a different place. He was wearing one of the trousers, and I was like, "Oh, you train Krav Maga? Yeah, yeah, but what is the point of doing this if
That's
I'm never
that's
gonna use
I
this?"
don't know. I don't know if you know, but that's one of my hobbies. Sometimes in the gyms in Australia and stuff. I'm not there quite as I'm here in Israel now. But some of the places where the schools where I funded, I'll just kind of hang around in my jeans, and I'll have a shirt because I'm just in the back room doing whatever, and I walk up to students just being polite, and I go, "How long have you been training Krav Maga for? How long have you been here?" And they go, I've been here for about a month." And then they turn to me and they go, "How long have you been training for Krav Maga?" I go,
Two
A few
months. You should
months,
have
a
said
few
it.
months.
2 months. Yeah.
No, a few months, a few months.
No,
But no, no, I love that. In fact, that in Krav Maga, it's, we're all in this together. We're equals.
Yeah. No, but my
We're,
point was that then you get the information when they are relaxed, and what's the point of doing this if I'm never going to use it? It's like an insurance kind of thing. Says, okay, it's a very interesting. You're here working around with your trousers. Assuming that someone decides to pick on you and decided to beat you up because you're wearing one of those trousers, what you gonna do? Oh, you know what I mean? So you stopped practicing because you didn't like it. You thought there was no use for it, but you're still advertising the thing. And now, if you need it the most, you're not going to be able to use it. It's a kind of a tricky one. I'm talking from the UK point of view. For people watching this later, if you live outside the UK, you have no idea because you can perhaps carry a weapon. You can have your pepper spray, your expandable baton, your shock knife, and so on, your taser. Over
but
here, everything is illegal.
that's false security. If you have, even if you carry a firearm, if you don't, that can also make your target. If you don't have the skill to be able
Yeah,
to retain that weapon,
correct.
you're just bringing along your own murder, the murder to your own weapon. So
Exactly.
if it's legally entitled, and you carry a firearm, or you carry a taser, or pepper spray, or whatever the hell you're carrying for self-defense, that's even more so a requirement to be able to retain that weapon that you've got. Otherwise, you're going to be in real trouble. So I would go as far in saying that if you don't have the training to carry around a firearm, if you don't have the skills to retain that weapon, you should seriously think of whether you want to carry that around, whether it's safe for you and for your surroundings, for you to be having that weapon in public.
Yeah. The point that I was trying to make is this: if you're in a country where you can actually use a knife and train with a knife and attend a course or classes that actually how to fight with a knife, okay, you have the skills. You perhaps can carry one with you and then be able to defend yourself. If you live in a country where you can have a handgun and you can learn properly how to handle a handgun and you're proficient doing this under stressful situations, of course, then it's a different story. But not having any of those tools and having to rely on your hands and your awareness and your gut feeling lots of times, it makes things even more interesting because then you have to explore this other side, the self-defense, the martial arts, the arts that you have to use in a war, in a fight. You understand from my point of view what I'm trying to say?
Not exactly.
Okay, never mind. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna change the subject then. Everybody watching
No,
this,
no,
yeah.
I'm completely with you. Just
You guys have a saying, for instance, we have to fight with the tools we've got, and we need to win the war. What is that in Hebrew? Sounds much nicer than in English.
yeah. It's "זה מה יש ועם זה ננצח." It means
There we go. See, I say
it's
that. I
very
told you that it sounds much nice in Hebrew.
it means this is what we've got, and we're gonna win using these tools, because
There we go.
winning is because we have no other choice. I mean, in the Israeli army, we can't lose battles. We can't, we're the only army. We can't lose a war. We can't lose a battle, because that's it for us.
Yeah.
For some of the other nations that are, fighting, hundreds of miles away from home, For us, every skirmish, every it's a battle for existence. So winning is not a question. It's there is no other option. There is no other choice. There is no retreat because there's nowhere to retreat to.
Yeah.
And whatever tools we have now, that's what there is. So there's no place to bring. So this is very
Interesting.
much in the Israeli mindset, in the military and in combat and battle. It's this is what we've got, and looking back, this is what we would have. This is what we're winning with.
Okay.
There's no
Yeah,
other option.
this is why right in the beginning I've asked you about the mindset of the Israelis, because you guys, even though the normal for you is the super high alert for us, if you like, if you have to put this in a scale to give an idea.
I don't know. I'd actually like to contest that in terms of, I mean, Joe, you've been here in Israel like 20, 30, 50 times. You practically have a permanent residency here. But, you know that Israelis don't live here under a state of constant alert and threat. And I know that's not what that's not what you meant, but people from the outside could very much think that haven't been here. It's maybe the fact that we do deal with conflict and we do deal with existential threats from time to time
Yeah.
allows us very effectively to switch on and switch back off effectively. And that's something that's quite unique. We can switch on to these states of alert and emergency because we also know how to switch back out of them when that threat level is not necessary and we know how to deal with that. Whereas maybe someone who's never been in a position where they've really been under the threat of existence, when they switch into this red alert thing, they've never been there and they've never switched out. So they go, is this the new normal and what does that mean? We
That was
know
exactly
that
what I was
this
trying to
is
say. Yeah.
we know that this is that this is a battle and battles end, and we generally win our battles. So
Yeah,
so
that was exactly
so
what I was trying to say. The fact that you guys can switch, everybody's nice and relaxed by the seaside. All of a sudden, boom, we are fighting. So
switch
it's
on. We
very,
do what we need. Do what needs to be done. We
yeah,
address the question, and then we go back to the beach.
back to
Drink
relax
some
again.
water.
Have a
But
a
that's
gold
also. I
star.
mean, I mean that's also something amazing. Is that we really celebrate. We know how to celebrate life and to enjoy every second because we also mortality is around the corner for everybody, right?
Here we go.
We don't
Don't live forever,
it's
eh?
it's not in our awareness all the time, but it can happen. When you cross the street, statistically, that's probably the most likely places to happen. But it's not in your mindset.
Yeah,
Here
yeah,
in Israel, it's brought to our mindset. It's brought to
correct.
our mindset. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily any more dangerous here. Everywhere it's got, it's
I don't know.
dangerous.
Every time I'm in Israel, I feel safer than when I'm back in London or back in Brazil or any other place in Italy. Even it's nice and relaxed. I mean,
It's
it's
different threats.
yeah.
Different.
Don't trust what the media tells you all the time because they might have a problem there. Question for you regarding camps. I mean, you run events, you run camps, instructors training, which I had the chance to attend one of them not long ago. What is the plan? What is the plan? You're going to kick off again in October, September, October this year?
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. The moment this is what we do. This is what we live for. We live to teach people Krav Maga and to share with them this beautiful country that we've got here, and we've been doing it for years, and we're going to continue doing that. So, the moment the flights reopen and the moment it's safe to do that, we're doing. I mean, we're we've got a lot of people waiting to come to the camps. A lot of people we had a May camp that had to be postponed. We had a lot of people who were set and very excited and looking forward to come here the moment they can. And throughout the corona, people have been very positive and optimistic. Every week we're getting more and more bookings of people coming, of people wanting to come. We've got one in October. Hopefully we'll be able to pull that one off. We've got one in May, and we've got people booking, like, it's it's going to be pretty busy the moment we can run the camps, because there are a lot of people here that have really wanted to come to Israel, and that
Excellent.
just
When is Israel opening its borders for foreigners without the 14 days quarantine there?
we don't know.
No, we don't know. Okay, but anytime soon. Again, Italy has, I think opened the doors now, and let's see what happens in the next few weeks. So let's hope things, gonna go from the way it is now to a better position. Even things will improve, so life can sort of try to recover on this side of the world. Yeah.
Look, we're not going anywhere. We're running the camps, and they're going the moment we can, the moment the borders are open and it's safe to do so, we're going to be opening up more of them because there's a lot of demand. So
Right. That's good.
um,
So if
so
anyone is interested in learning from you, would you even do the odd Zoom session, or you're gonna a private lesson with you? Would that be possible?
um,
I know you're a busy
at the
guy, but
moment, yeah, at the moment, we haven't offered one-on-one live yet. I've done. We do have a program, Krav Maga Live, where we do it for the larger group. We've been working with our partner KMDI, is a group that is a Krav Maga school that I work very close with. I founded that when I was living in Australia quite a few years ago, and fantastic instructors over there. So we've been doing a platform and running daily live sessions over there. The gym in Australia is opening actually this Saturday. In Australia, they're reopening, so all the members are going to go back over there. But that being said, we've picked up a wealth of experience. Krav Maga is an adaptive system. We adapt for everything, and in the last few months, we've adapted to deliver the training. Look, teaching online, it's a challenge. You get used to going in front of the camera. It's not it was something new which we took on. But the thing is, everything we take on is we take on with, you know there is no half measures. We go at it with the professionalism that our clients and the people we work with have become accustomed to. So that was the real challenge. It was putting forward a format, if you
yeah,
will,
yeah. It was nothing. You couldn't
that
buy a book about how to live stream your classes 101 because the corona has hit you. It's a lot of
yeah,
trial and error
and
there.
and it's been phenomenal because we've been working with students and instructors, by the way, from all over the world that have been doing our live sessions, and we've been watching their progress because it's a two-way thing. They also send us the videos, and the people have accomplished quite
Yeah, yeah.
covered a lot of ground and really progressed with online training, which was something
We
that
never thought.
I was skeptical, to be honest,
Yeah,
going into it, saying how could you possibly learn
yeah,
such a hand-to-hand system online. And with the challenges, there are also some amazing benefits of, you can really break down techniques and you can go into detail, and you can teach things in a way that you simply can't do in front of a class or a workshop.
yeah.
And everything's recorded and people can go back. So there is really, it was, I enjoyed it, to be honest. It was a challenge, but I really enjoyed it. I did some of my own sessions, and people would just jump in and train alongside me.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah,
kind of, it was
what I
fun.
realize is that, as I said, people learn more sometimes via online training than a face to face. That's one. A second is that we are teaching students now same way we teach pretty much instructors, because you're breaking it down to the point where you're going for the nano parts of the technique there. We then, as you said, is recorded. They can watch again. They can play this many times and eventually improve. Especially if you've been in a lockdown with someone that shares the same passion, then for sure you'll be progress a lot. I've seen a lot of progression with that. Some others on their own had to do what I had to do, build up little, mannequins to hold guns. One of my instructors sent a picture the other day with a picture of, I even joked, it looked like a Monty Python sketch with, the guy with a t-shirt with a belt around the middle with a wooden arm holding a pistol so he could practice disarming. We had to do what we had to do in order to continue being, continue improving, if you like. But it's interesting.
Well, well, what we're going to do is, with all this, we've put together hours and hours and hours of content, and we've also got a skill set of being able to teach effectively, very effectively, in fact, to people online. So we're taking these things and we're going to use them so that people can keep on learning from us all over the world. Because we've got students here in, with Krav Maga Israel, we get people coming training with us from all over the world. And some places, they have access to awesome gyms, and they want to supplement their training and to experience it in Israel with instructors, with myself and the instructors that I've got working for me here. And some of them generally, there are a lot of places that just, people who live in areas where there is no Krav Maga, the option doesn't exist. So that's what we really, we're using this knowledge and this experience that we've got, and we're going to continue putting um, these things out there so that people who want to learn Krav Maga that haven't had access to it until now have access to it. And also someone might have access to a fantastic gym, but wants more, wants a program online that they can follow, that they know that comes from a reputable source, and that can add on to their training. So
Sure.
we're not letting it go to
Yeah,
waste, not at all.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. It's another window that all of a sudden we had to force open and and dedicate some time and effort towards that. So, which is another feather in your hat, as they said here in the UK. So another badge of honor on your uniform to say, yes, I'm a Zoom online instructor. I should create an instructor's course for that. I'm giving you the idea, people. Hey, I want 10% of that.
You're gonna laugh, but I've actually seen that.
Oh no, you already seen it. All right, never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind. It happens.
that's not my cup of tea. I prefer to train and certify my instructors
The face to
face to
face one.
face, in person. I like to punch them. I like to be able to hit them in
Oh,
the face myself and get hit
nothing beats
by
that.
some of them as well, and know that they have the part.
Yeah,
But
but for sure, if you attend an instructor's course, you go to Israel, train with you, and then eventually you go home. After a few months, you know the story. You start losing some of the techniques. You lost some of the, the games and the exercises and the drills. So all of a sudden, being able to tap into a resource like that with the amount of hours of training, you're watching again, you're going to go, oh, hold on a second, I understand. I remember now. I can connect the dots. It's a way to refresh the memory, as I do all the time. I keep going back into videos. Even I've got a DVD here, funny enough, from 2006 that I'm playing again and watching the drills and stuff that I wasn't 100% sure back in the day.
well,
It's a matter of you research and
it's
keep
a
keep.
critical point that, and you know this, that you can never stop developing, training, and learning as an instructor. And anybody who goes under the Krav Maga Israel banner, uh, we it's not that that's it. They get certified instructor and we never see them again. These people come in year and year again to train with us in Israel. We visit them overseas, but what's unique is that our focus has really been around Israel. It's really about, we want to get as much as possible our instructors here to Israel to experience it, to see it, to breathe it, to get a understanding of the greater aspect of Krav Maga. It's not just about the techniques, but about everything, and that can be done phenomenally in Israel. So our instructors, we see that most of our instructors are in Israel at least once a year
Yeah,
to train with us, at least.
yeah. I managed to get that
It's
three
a
times in
commitment.
1 year, but that was a bit crazy from my side. But anyway, anyone interested in finding out about you, apart from visiting the KravMagaIsrael.com website, what are the sources of information they can tap into?
No, the KravMagaIsrael.com is really where we put most of our resources for training camps, for instructor certification courses, for instructor training camp, for all the events that we do that we do in Israel. That's really the address to go and see it. Of course, we've got our Facebook pages and Instagram. Ron Engelman on Instagram, on Facebook, pretty easy to find. Um, yeah, we put training videos up on there. We put information about things. It's that's the
Is
same,
that
but we're pretty easy. you know the way I was always trained in Krav Maga, and the way I was always, the attitude that I believe in is, there's no such, it's not about, the typical Krav Maga master, who
oh
sits in front of the dojo and things like that. It's not. it's kind of like, you know, the same attitude we have in the Israeli army in the special forces. Um, it's it's like the attitude is, so what, you know? Okay, so you've, you know, so that's what you've that's who you are. That's what you dedicated your life to. Okay, you're in the special forces. That's nice. So is my brother and my cousin and his grand. Like
Yeah.
it's not a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, it's amazing, it's awesome, but it's not, you know, we're pretty casual here in Israel. You won't see people running, driving, you know, super fancy cars, and it's not that type of culture here. It's, you know, we're
Your
very
your focus is in
casual.
different areas. Yeah.
We're very casual, and that's my approach to teaching Krav Maga. To, you know, the people that I train, the people I work with, you know, or people that I bond with, and and yeah, I'm always there for anybody who wants to learn Krav Maga, from a beginner student to Krav Maga instructors. You know, I love talking to people, you know, who train Krav Maga on Facebook, on Instagram. I don't like the word followers, because you know, at the end, you know, it's all people.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not an influencer.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
word. Yeah.
I
Yeah. It's a tricky word, that one.
I teach Krav Maga. That's what I do,
Excellent.
and that's what I do. Don't come to me to help, you know, you balance your books, or to for graphic design. I know how to punch people in the face
Yeah,
really, really
exactly.
hard.
Well,
And
listen, we've been talking for about an hour, which is pretty much how long I want to keep those interviews, to make sure that people, have the time to watch them later. I'm sure we can talk about another 5, 10 hours about, different aspects, and we haven't touched many of them. I'm sure we will do this again. I want to have perhaps a second one. We can do this next time with more technology from my side, and then we can, talk to more people. But for now, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and hope you have a good day and enjoy the whatever the weekend, even though today's Tuesday. But every day is a weekend day now, so nobody cares. All right. Thank you.
yes, look
Everybody who
after
watched
yourself,
this,
Joe.
I appreciate that. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take it easy.
Take care, Joe.